Thinking of moving to Calgary? Wondering what it really costs to live here in 2025? From housing costs to activities, groceries, and even some hidden expenses, I'll break it all down so that there are no surprises. My name is Ryan Gillard at Real Broker, and in this video, I'll go over the complete cost of living in Calgary. Let's go. And first things first, if you are thinking about making a move, buying, selling, or relocating, I'd love to be a resource and help you out. You can easily reach out to me, call, text, email, or comment. I will get it and get back to you. All right, let's get into it. And this is a real estate channel, so I'll start off with that first, and I'll give you a rough idea what things cost in the city. So primarily we have detached homes, duplexes, townhouses, and condo-style apartments. And if you add them all up and get an average, it is $592,500. And I'll start off here with detached homes. The average price $753,900. And I'll just pull up my back-end MLS system here, and I just ran a search for single-family homes between $730,000 to $770,000, and you can see these properties are all over the city. There are some gaps. This area is generally a lot cheaper than $730,000 to $770,000. That's why you don't see anything here. And these areas are generally a bit more expensive. And I'll just pull up one of these options here. Let's try Seton. List price $757,000. It's a two-story home built in 2020, so fairly new. Roughly 1,800 square feet, 3 bedrooms. You've got 3 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, a finished basement, a double attached garage, and I'll show you some of the photos here. Nice looking property. And this one is currently on the market for sale. Looks like a very nice home. And this should give you just a rough idea. There are properties like this all over the city. And I'll just pull up my mortgage calculator to give you an idea of what this would cost monthly. So I just used $750,000, 5% down, which would be $37,500 on a 25-year fixed term. And I just used the interest rate of 4%. This could be higher or lower depending on your own situation, and the rates are always changing. But this works out to about $3,761 per month. And if I go back to that property, you have to add in property taxes to that monthly payment amount. In this example, the tax amount per year, $4,342. And you'd also have to add in things like home insurance, which can be quite expensive in Calgary nowadays. For the longest time, like an average home insurance was like $150 to $200 per month. Now I'm seeing examples where it's like $300 to $400 per month. So our insurance rates have really gone up in Calgary. It's getting expensive. And that could be because there's fires in Alberta, there's hailstorms and stuff like that. So this monthly payment, you'd add in the home insurance. If you're buying a condo, you'd add in condo fees on top of this. And there could be an annual fee to live in specific neighborhoods in Calgary. We call it homeowners association fees. That's a fee for like some neighborhoods have extra landscaping or there's lake access and stuff like that. That would be an additional fee to live in specific neighborhoods. Now I won't go through all of these, but I'll give you another example of a condo. So the average price here, $341,700, up 11.4% year over year. And I'll just find one here. This one looks good. So I'll go to the north end of the city in Kincora. This condo is listed for $347,000, built in 2014. 976 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it has a parkade. So not underground parking, but it has a parking stall outside. And I'll just show you some of the photos here. It's like a pretty typical condo. And I would say most condos, especially in this age, wouldn't have carpet. They would have hardwood or vinyl plank. But some do have carpet like this one. But the layout looks like your typical condo. And this one, the condo fee, $554 per month. Condo fees are getting expensive in Calgary. I'd say for this size of a condo, that's quite a big condo. This would be a very typical condo fee, and that includes amenities with the HOA or the condo. So some buildings will have like a gym, a library, and stuff like that. Or maybe they have like a concierge. Includes common area maintenance, heat insurance, maintenance of the grounds, parking, professional management, reserve fund contributions, sewer, snow removal, trash, and water. So the only thing missing here is electricity. I will touch on electricity later on. And back to the mortgage calculators. If you're buying a condo in this range, So 350,000, 5% down is 17,500 on a 25-year term at 4% interest. That monthly payment is $1,755. Now you'd also have to add in property taxes and condo fees. So $1,755 plus, I'll go back here 1 second. The tax amount per year, $1,868, and again the condo fee is $554 per month. So those would be on top of the mortgage payment. And I'll just give you a rough idea of how our market is performing in Calgary if you're a buyer looking at it. Now, I apologize for the noise if you can hear it. My building, we're putting in new windows today, so there's a lot of construction noises. So as you can see here, our pricing is up in all categories, 4.5% on average, detached homes 8.1, duplexes 8, townhouses 8.1, and condos 11.4%, all year over year. So our market's been performing very well the last few years, but it looks to me like it is balancing out a little bit. You can see here in the inventory is up 54% over last year. So the trend is more homes coming to the market. And if you look at the months of supply, that is also up 54.6%. This is the stat where if no one could list a property for sale, it would take 2.28 months to sell the remaining inventory. 2.28 is definitely still a seller's market. If it gets to like 3 and 4, that would be more of a balanced market. And higher than that would be a buyer's market. So we're still quite a ways away from being in a buyer's market. But we are moving away from the extreme seller's market conditions where there's no inventory and everything was selling way above list price. I think those days they're ending, but our market's still good, just balancing out. And I'll just give you a snapshot of what properties cost around the city, just real briefly. And you can see here the city center, the average price $599,500. Deceiving because a lot of condos are located in this area and they are lower price ranges. But single-family homes in the city center are definitely very expensive. And on the west side, average price $719, northwest Calgary $641. This part of Calgary is generally the most expensive. Then the more average parts are the north at $561, south and the southeast $585 and $582. And the more affordable parts of Calgary are generally on the east side, east central side, and the northeast part of the city at $519 and $434. And next up, I'll briefly touch on renting. Now, I don't handle rentals. I get lots of calls and emails about that. I don't actually do that, but I can give you some advice. I find the best rental website is rentfaster.ca, and you can see all the properties all over the city. I would say on average, a one-bedroom rental is probably $1,500 per month, a two-bedroom maybe $2,000, and to rent a full house, I would say $2,500 and up from there. And next up, I'll just go over some of the basic utilities. So right now I live in a condo complex, so I'm just paying electricity. I'm not paying for heat, gas, water, recycling, and garbage. So my bill, it typically ranges in the 60s, I would say, if you look at the last year. 1 month it was $150. I don't know what happened there. But generally in the 60s, and if you break it down into more detail, my actual electricity charge is not that much. It's like $15 a month, but all the extra fees are added on top of it, which bring it to $60-ish. So there's admin fees, delivery charges, distribution charge, transmission charge, balancing pool allocation. And there are rate riders, which I think is a credit, and there's also a fee to Calgary. So basically a lot of your bill is just different taxes going here and there. And so if you have a full single-family home, you'll also be paying for gas, heat, water, sewer, garbage, and recycling. And I would say for like a typical home, if you add all that together with electricity, you're probably paying $400 a month, and even higher than that for bigger homes. So I would say maybe $400 to $600, maybe even $700 a month for utilities, depending on the size of the property and how big your family is and the usage. But it's expensive, so if you are looking at buying a property, don't overextend yourself because utilities are expensive, home insurance is expensive, and you add in like cable, internet, and stuff like that. It's all very expensive. And next up, I'll just go through what I pay for cell, internet, and cable. So for internet and cable, my bill is about $145 per month. And I'll just go through the bill. It's kind of confusing actually how they break it down. I have a fiber optic internet connection, $119 per month. Disney Plus, thinking about getting rid of that, that's $14.99 per month. Ignite Wi-Fi Gateway, that's the modem, $10. I've got some fiber optic discount, minus $26. Small TV, so I don't have an elaborate TV package. I just watch like sports pretty much. I'm actually thinking about getting rid of this as well. the box rental $15, and I got some kind of discount minus 15. So that would be all $185 per month, but I also have these different promotions, which drops it by 47. So I'm paying $145 for internet and cable. And I'll go through my cell plan. So right now I have an account with the Alberta Real Estate Association. It's like a group plan, a corporate plan. So it's a lot cheaper than what it should be. And so if I was making the amount of calls that I'm doing right now, with just a typical plan, my bill would be huge. But it's actually very affordable with the real estate plan. And if I go way back, I was paying about $52 a month, and that included everything, like long distance, unlimited text and data, very good plan. It jumped up to $92 because I bought a brand new phone, and each month part of the payment is paying off the phone. So that's why you see the jump from $52 to $94. And there's the odd month in here where I'm traveling and there's additional fees, but usually my cell plan is about $92 per month. Next up, transportation. So I'll start off with public transportation and move on to driving. So we have the C train in Calgary, and the bus covers a fair amount of the city as well. A single pass is $3.70. If you are looking for a day pass, it is $11.60, and a monthly pass, $115, which I think is fairly expensive. And if you look at the areas that it covers, kind of a confusing map. This is the full transit map, so it's got buses and the C train. So this red line that you see right here, this is the red line C train, and it does cover a fair amount of the city. It goes right into the deep northwest. It'll cut through the downtown over here, and it'll go all the way down to the south central part of the city. We are building the green line, which will start somewhere over here, come all the way up into the Inglewood area, which I believe is over here, then into downtown. Then it will finally go north central throughout the city. This is still under construction. We've got the blue line. This is also a C train line. It goes from the west side of Calgary all the way to downtown and into the northeast. And then all these other lines that you see here, this is the bus routes. So people do knock our transit system in Calgary, but I think it's pretty good. It does cover a big portion of the city. But as you can see, Calgary does cover a massive area. And so it's definitely a car city. If you're coming here, I would recommend buying a car. And there are some expenses with driving a car here. You have to register the vehicle. I forget what that costs. Maybe it's like $70 a year to register it. Car insurance, I pay about $150 per month. I have a bit of corporate insurance because I drive people around sometimes, so mine is more expensive than the typical person out there that's just driving to work or recreationally. So that's $150 per month. Last time I checked, gas in Calgary was like $1.40-ish, give or take. It's always moving around. The highest I've seen it was like during COVID, it was maybe $1.80 or pushing that. And the lowest I saw was also during COVID. It was around 45 to 50 cents. But on average, it's kind of where it is right now, around $1.30 to $1.40. And so for I drive a Cherokee, it usually takes, if it's like bone dry, it might cost me like $60 to $70 to fill it up. And one last thing to consider living in Calgary is it does snow here. It gets pretty cold. And you might want to invest in some winter tires. So I think last time I bought some winter tires was a few years ago, and I think it cost me like $800 to buy 4 of them. And every year when I change them over, I think it costs about $150 to take the old ones off and put the winter tires on, and vice versa. So there are some expenses for having a car here, but it's definitely worth it. It is a giant city, and it's best if you have your own car versus taking transit. And we do have Uber in Calgary, and I'll give you 2 different fares. So right now I'm in the Beltline area. If I were to take Uber all the way to the airport, it might take like 20 minutes or so. That fare is about $31. Or if I go south from the Beltline to Chinook Centre, this is the biggest shopping mall in Calgary, that is $15. And I would say most fares that I take with Uber are between like $10 to $15. I don't generally go too far. The airport is probably the furthest I would go, but it's not too bad. And next up is healthcare. And in Canada, healthcare is free, but that's a bit deceiving though, because some things are free and some things aren't free. But if you get into like a car accident and you break your leg and you're in the emergency room, there's no cost to that in Canada like there is in other parts of the world, like the United States. They have huge costs for stuff like that. But that is covered under like Alberta Healthcare or Each province has their own version of that, so that would be a free expense in Canada. But there are certain things that aren't, and that's why I carry health insurance, and I pay about $150 per month. And I'll just briefly go through my plan. I won't go through all the details. But for prescription drugs, my plan covers 80% of the cost, and I would pay the 20%. There is a deductible for extended health care. So say I go to the chiropractor or physiotherapy and stuff like that. Your plan won't kick in until you've paid the deductible. So for a single person, it's $100 per year. Once you've paid that, then your plan will kick in, which will cover some of the expenses. And with my plan, I get $500 per calendar year per paramedical practitioner. So that's like acupuncture, chiropractors, massage therapists, physiotherapy, and stuff like that. So I use this quite often. I've been going to the chiropractor and physiotherapy at a lower back injury. And so, again, at the start of the year, when I use this, I could pay the $100 deductible, and then my $500 per practitioner would kick in. And one thing that you don't see here, which I do have covered, is actually some basic dental work, like fillings and basic checkups, x-rays and stuff like that. That is part of this plan as well. But it doesn't cover more elaborate things like root canals and braces and stuff like that, which is very pricey. And in terms of vision, I believe like an annual checkup, there's a certain percentage that's covered, but if you want to actually get glasses, then you would have to pay the full amount. It's not covered under this plan. Now, there's lots of different plans out there. This is just mine, but it gives you a rough idea how expensive things can be. And next up, I'll just go through some of the costs associated with activities in Calgary and the surrounding area. So obviously out here, hiking is very popular, going to the mountains for skiing, cycling, all those activities. There's a cost to it. So we have Banff National Park and Kananaskis Provincial Park, and they both have their own fees. So I'll start off with Banff. So to go there on a day pass, it costs $11. This is on the BanffLakeLouise.com website. And Kananaskis, which is right next to Banff and a bit closer to Calgary, to register a vehicle for a day pass is $15. And this $15, it includes all the people in the vehicle, or for a yearly pass, it's $90. And let's talk about skiing. There's a bunch of ski hills around the Calgary area within a few hours drive. I'm just using Lake Louise as an example here. And the lift pass from $89 to $169. I'm assuming $89 is for kids or maybe seniors. If you go buy tickets online just for a day pass, I just pulled up January here, and they are $159. So it is quite expensive to go skiing. Golf also very popular. I pulled up Darcy Ranch, which is actually in Okotoks, just south of Calgary by like half an hour. I use this one because it's actually a public course, but when you're there, it feels like it should be a private course. It's very good. 18 holes, $95. And if you get a power cart, that's an additional $24. If you are going to a Flames game, the tickets range from $30 to $362. And I'd say like the middle bowl, these are probably like $150. Yeah, $132. And in the press level, this is where you can find the more the cheaper tickets. These ones are $52. And to go to the Calgary Zoo, a ticket is about $34. If you want to go to the theater, I would say tickets are around $15. And the Calgary Stampede, last time I was there, I think the day pass was like $30. I could be wrong on that one. But everything is getting fairly expensive in Calgary. And moving along, I'll briefly touch on education and childcare. So for education, if you're enrolling your kid in the public school system, it should be free. Shouldn't be any fees for that. For private school, that's a different story. I won't touch on that because each school they're all different. But for the public system, that should be a free expense. Now daycare, that is a bit of a different story. That's very expensive in Canada. And I found this on the University of Calgary's website. This is for their care center, but it should give you a rough idea what the costs are around the city. So there are fees, and there's also a government rebate. So for infants, $1,648 per month. Toddlers, 19 to 35 months, is $1,349. 3 to 5-year-olds is $1,174 per month, and kindergarten, $1,127. But there is a government grant to make it a little bit easier. So for infants, that's $883 per month. Toddler affordability grant, $709. Preschool age, $626. Kindergarten, $626 as well. So you take the current fee minus the grant, and that's what the childcare should be. Now, there's tons of different care centers and stuff like that, daycares. So you have to check around, but this should give you a rough idea of what the fees are. And I won't touch on post-secondary education. That is definitely expensive, even for local students, even more expensive if you're an international student.
And next up, I'll just go through some basic grocery items. And first up is milk. So a 4-liter jug of milk is about $5.50-ish, depending on the grocery store. Eggs, anywhere from $4 to $8. Cheese, if it's on sale, like your typical like cheddar and mozzarella, it can be as low as $4.50 and as high as $10. Just depends if there's sales or not. And it can go up from there, like Parmesan cheese, super expensive. Butter is also very expensive, costs between $6 to $10 per stick of butter. Yogurt between $5 to $7. Water, a big jug of water is about $2.50. Most cereal in like a family-sized carton is about $6 to $8. Same with flour, between $6 to $8, depending on the size of the bag. Pasta is generally pretty cheap. Most packages are like $3. Rice can be anywhere from $5 to $15, depending on the size of the bag of rice. For chicken, it can range depending on what you're buying, like thighs or wings. It can be expensive. It can be affordable as well. I'd say anywhere between $7 to $15, depending on the size of it. Beef, very expensive, about $10 per pound, so it just depends how much you're buying. Pork is cheaper than beef. I'd say most big packs are around $10 or so. A bag of sausage, or not a bag, but like a thing of sausage is about $6 to $7, a pack of sausage. Bacon, anywhere between $4 to $8. A loaf of bread is generally around $4. You can buy like individual buns or bagels anywhere from 70 cents to like $1.50, depending on what you're getting. A bag of buns is around $4.50. Apples are about $2 per pound. Bananas are always so cheap for some reason. Bananas are $1.50 per pound. We have oranges in the supermarket now, and they are about $8 a box for those mandarin oranges. Tomatoes are about $2 to $4. Potatoes a bit cheaper, between $2 to $3 per pound. Same with onions, between $2 to $3 per pound. Peppers between $4 to $5 per pound. For pop, like Coke, a big jug is like $3.50. Most boxes of cookies are like $4. Frozen pizza anywhere from $5 to $10. And I've also included the restaurant meal. I had Vietnamese food last night, and I think this meal costs like $13 to $14. Vietnamese food is always a very affordable option in Calgary. The same, if you went to like a fast food restaurant, got like a hamburger combo, it would be the same price as this Vietnamese food. So it's better food, good quality, and it's about the same price as going to a fast food restaurant. All right, there you have it. That's the cost of living in Calgary. And once again, if you are thinking about making a move, buying, selling, or relocating, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd love to help you out, and I'll see you on the next video.